Good morning, everyone. My name's Adam Gosling. I'm the Policy Officer here at APNIC, and I'm just going to run through the election procedures for our NRO-NC election today. There's one vacant seat on the Number Council, and it'll be for a 2-year term starting in the 1st of January 2018 until the 31st of December 2019. There was a call for nominations which ran from the 5th of June to the 10th of August 2017. There's online voting and now on-site voting available. There's more information at the URL on the screen. These slides will be published very shortly if they aren't already. The online voting was via My APNIC, so it was available for APNIC members only. The voting period started Monday the 28th of August 2017 and ended at 9 a.m. UTC plus 8 on Tuesday the 12th of September 2017. The on-site voting is a little different. Each registered APNIC44 attendee is entitled to one vote as an individual. The voting period starts very shortly, as announced by the election chair, and will end at 2 p.m. local time today. The ballot box will be placed at the voting desk out in the foyer after the election chair has inspected it and announced the opening for on-site voting. The voting ballot paper looks like this. Please mark 1X. The election results will be announced at 3 p.m. today, local time. And the election chair will also disclose notice of any disputes and resolutions. Disclosure of any communication from the election scrutineers regarding any anomaly or issue will be made at that time. This slide depicts the declaration of results, including the total paper ballots, the invalid paper ballots, the paper ballots counted, the on-site and online votes, the total votes counted, and the vote counts for each nominee. Our election chair today is Vincent Chen. He was appointed by the EC, the APNIC EC. Election officers are George and Connie. The election tellers to do the counting will be Anna, Witter and Zen. And the scrutineers are Arthur and John. They were appointed by the election chair. Any complaints regarding the conduct of the election must be lodged in writing with the election chair at the conference and be lodged no later than 1 hour before the scheduled declaration of the election. Notices may only be lodged by nominees or members through their authorised voting representatives. The election chair shall resolve the dispute at his discretion. I'd now like Vincent to come up and introduce the nominees. Thank you, Vincent. Forward, backward.
Hello, everyone. My name is Vincent Chen from NIAPA Association in Taiwan. I'm so pleased, honored to be serve as the election chair of this election. And I would like to invite the nominees up to the stage to share their vision and introduce themselves to you. And each nominees have 2 minutes. And after their introduction, after that I will open the ballot box and show you that there's nothing inside the ballot box, and and Mr. George and me, we take the box outside to the voting desk, and there's where the voting will start from that. And so first, I would like to introduce the 9 nominees to have their introductions. First, the nominee is the. You can see the nominee list. No. And the first nominee is and yes, is a Haru Akhtar Chaudhary, but it seems he is unable to come here, and he also has no sense through his nominee statement, and so may I ask any audience to would like to speak on his behalf here? Suppose that several nominees are unable to come here, but I just say twice, invite to ask you anyone would like to speak on his behalf. If not, I will proceed to the next. Okay. So first nominee is unable to come here. So anyone would like to speak on his behalf here? No? So I will proceed to the next, okay? And the second nominee is the Syed Mohammed Najahi. He's also unable to be here, and he also not sent through his nominee statement, and anyone would like to speak on his behalf here? The second nominee? No? So I will proceed to the next. Okay. So the third nominee is the Vanetma Kanjin. He also unable to come. So he has not sent through his nominee statement, and anyone like to speak on his behalf here? The third nominee? Anyone? No? I proceed to the next, okay. And the fourth nominee is the Sinrata Sumro. He's unable to come, but he has sent us his nominee statement, and the APNIC staff will read his statement on his behalf for us. So please, yes.
So I'll read his Sonola Sumro's statement. Excellencies, honourable speakers, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, this is indeed a great privilege for me, and thanks to APNIC for giving me chance of words to all audience. First of all, I would like to have a few words which reflect me and as well as my company. I, by name, Sana Ullah Sumro, having 12 years experience in IP and MPLS. I'm Senior Network Administrator at PTCL. Pakistan Telecommunication Company Limited is a mega corporation and a leading telecommunication authority in Pakistan. The corporation provides telephonic and internet services nationwide and is the backbone for countries' telecommunication infrastructure. The corporation manages and operates around 2,000 telephone exchanges across the country, providing the largest fixed line network, data and backbone services such as GSM, CDMA, broadband internet, IPTV, wholesale are an increasing part of its business. Originally one of the state-owned corporations, the shareholding of the PTCL has been reduced to 62% when 26% of shares and control was sold to Etisalat Telecommunications. PTCL's massive growth has been due to unmatchable speeds, unlimited downloads and unbeatable options that PTCL broadband provides, with basic speeds ranging start initially from 1 megabits, 2 megabits, 4 megabits, and 8 megabits to VDSL. Ultra-high speeds of 10 megabits, 20 megabits, and 50 megabits broadband offers speeds further up to 100 megabits on fiber to the home broadband service. PTCL broadband therefore ensures provision of broadband to every household and business of Pakistan. Remained as leading role in the field of IP and internet for PTCL and since the inception of broadband in the country.
Okay.
There's more, but yeah, it's cut. Okay. Sorry.
Okay, thank you, thanks, Judge. And the next nominee is the next. I would like to invite Jahanjir Hossain to come to the microphone. Jahanjir is here to make a brief statement. Jahanjir, please. 2 minutes.
Hello, thank you all to all Asia Pacific community to give me opportunity to say something about my statement. I am Jahangir Hossain, working in Banglatel Group in Bangladesh. Especially working one of the organization our Banglatel Group is BD-Link Communication. I am one of the IP transit provider and international terrestrial cable provider in Bangladesh. I am working as a senior manager in data communication network. Besides, I am also an alumni member of a couple of organizations as a fellow, as SENOC, APNIC, APRIGF, ICANN, and ISO fellow to ITF. During the role, my last couple of years as an alumni fellow, I got the opportunity to involve a couple of organizations in Asia Pacific community as well as international community, and working as a volunteer in various community in Asia Pacific region as well as international organization. I am also a founding executive member of Bangladesh Network Operator Group and International Society Bangladesh Dhaka chapter. Also representative steering committee member from Asia Pacific region in Internet Society as a chapter advisory council. And I'm also a member of ICANN IPC CP and GNSO council member in ICANN. And last, I've been working in service provider and solution industry last 12 years. During my role, I think community empowerment is very important from Asia Pacific region as well as our South Asia region as well. So during my role, I want to take the role to bring Asia Pacific region to the global community, and I think I'll be happy to get all of your support to bring this role to the international community. Thank you all, and thanks for me to bring the opportunity to say something about my statement. Thank you.
Thank you, Jahaja. Thank you so much. Next, I would like to invite Tomohiro Fujisaki-san to come to the microphone to make a brief statement, please. Please.
Okay, thank you, Election Chair. Okay, good morning, everybody. My name is Tomohiro Fujisaki, working for NTT Japan and also currently Internet Society Japan Chapter Chair. And first of all, I would like to say thank you to all of you to support the NRO-NC activities with the heart of the current NRO-NC member. Actually, NRO-NC activities are based on your community support. So I also ask all of you to continue support to the NRO-NC activities. And okay, on me, as an NRO-NC current member, I'll be joining the all recent ICANN meetings and also, of course, all recent regular NRO-NC meetings. And as many of you know, one of the NRO-NC job is to shepherd the global policy development, and I've been trying to promote the policy activities in the APNIC region. And as you know, this time we have so many policy proposals, and it's my great pleasure. And also, in recent few years, I've served as the Internet Society Nomination Committee member to select the ISOC board candidate, and also IETF nomination committee member to select the IAB member and the ISC member. I think another work of the NRNC is to select the ICANN board, and my experience in such a NOMCOM is very, very helpful for the NRNC activities. And so I would like to continue to serve the APNIC community, hopefully as an NRNC member. I need your support. Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you, Tomohiro. Thank you. And the next is seventh nominee, Mohammed Toyat, but he is unable to come, and he also has not sent through his nominee statement. So may I ask any audience like to speak on his behalf? Mohan Tayat, anyone would like to speak on his behalf? No? So I proceed to the next. The next one, next nominee is the Mohammed Rafi. He also unable to come, and he has not sent through his nominee statement. So anyone would like to speak on his behalf here? Anyone like to speak on his behalf here? No? We proceed to the next one. The final nominee, I would like to invite the AFTAB City to come to the microphone to make a brief statement. AFTAB, please.
Good morning, everyone. This is Aftab Siddiqui. As my day job, I work for Internet Society as the Technical Engagement Manager in the Asia-Pacific region. And you have been seeing me for a very long time. If you are a regular attendee of APNIC and Apricot meetings, I've been coming here for many, many, many years, probably a decade now. And currently, I am part of the NRONC. I'm the appointed member of APNIC EC, and I've been serving for 3 years. So you may ask this question that why I want to run again, what I haven't been able to complete whatever I was doing in last 3 years. Well, the issue is I'm the APNIC appointed member, and I would like to serve on the review committee and all the other committees which only elected members can join in. And it's very critical. You need a loud and a critical voice in the NRONC at the moment, because all the policy work happening after the INR transfer, we have to do a lot of things. And I strongly believe that I can fill that gap and do a great job for the community. If you think I'm the right person, well, vote for me. And if you have some concern, you can ask me anytime later today. 2 minutes is just not enough for me. I love to talk a lot. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Aftab. And we move on to the next stage. Suppose, Judge, we have a ballot box here. Just make sure the ballot box inside is empty, and nothing inside, right? By George, and we'll take it to the voting desk just outside the conference hall. So I would like to declare the election open, and the ballot box will be kept outside and supervised by the election tellers. And just remind the voting ends at 14 o'clock today, 2 o'clock in the afternoon. So make sure you to vote it. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Could I ask the policy SIG chairs to take their places on the stage, please?
Good morning, everyone. So today is our second session of Policy SIG, and we've got two proposals to review. And first one is the no-need policy in APNIC region by David Alayo, which is somewhere in the room. And he will start talking about it right now. Please, David.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for coming here this morning. So the first presentation is about the so-called no-need policy. Do we have the slides? Coming up. So-called no-need policy in APNIC region. This is only about transfers. So why do we need a no-need policy, and why is there a need evaluation in the end? Most of it comes from historical reasons. Originally, IPv4, when it was distributed, eventually it was decided to have a need-based evaluation compared to the old legacy classful distribution. And that was to protect the pools from IANA and eventually the pools from the RARs for the distribution, that people will receive the IP addresses in a fair manner. With transfers, the evaluation is happening still for the need base. You need to demonstrate why you're transferring the space, but it doesn't actually serve its original purpose anymore. The space has already been issued to an LIR and is not protecting the pool from the RAR or IANA to make the evaluations of your network, your infrastructure, and submitting all that documentation. It will just simplify the transfers. It removes any potential hurdles, and there's much less doubt in the part of the seller and the part of the recipient on if the transfer is going to happen. And most importantly, is no need for pre-approvals anymore. At the moment, if you're doing a transfer, either you have a pre-approval, you have already gone through a lengthy evaluation with APNIC, or you have found the space, you tell APNIC that you need the space, and they will make an evaluation. And that can take just a couple of days or a couple of weeks, depending on the size of the allocation that you want to transfer and the complication of your network. And removing that simple thing of the need-based evaluation will just make it a simple email to APNIC and telling them that you want to transfer space. So this will make for, especially for the LIRs, much less information to gather and distribute. Plus,
a lot of that information is related to your network. It's sometimes very confidential information, especially now on how you use our IPv4 space when it has become scarce. And confidential information that you submit via email to third parties is not always the best of things. And from the RAR side, it will reduce the workload as well. APNIC staff, the hostmaster, will have much, much less to evaluate. It will become a pure registration matter in the APNIC database. And yeah, it's in the RIPE region for a very long time. In the RIPE region, the no-need policy is actually going much, much deeper than that. It's not only for transfers, but it's related to everything that is IPv4, more or less. And yeah, we have not seen any adverse effect from it, any abuse happening from it. It's not an issue. It's simply removing one leftovers from historical reasons of why we still have those evaluations and why they were put there in the first place. And further than that, I'm going to the end of my slides and would like to take some questions if anybody had some. Questions or comments?
Good morning. Alain Durand speaking on my own behalf, certainly not on my employers. Do you think that a policy like this one will improve or degrade the quality of information in the database?
Improve.
Can you explain?
It will make it easier to have the transfer happening. Anything that makes it easier to declare it to your RAR, declare it to the authoritative registry, basically. So it should improve the quality of the data. Anyone who is scared of declaring the transfer because there's too much administration or paperwork have no reason to be scared once this is in place.
Thank you.
Hello everyone, this is Sean. I'm from China. I support this policy as it can remove the administrative burden supplying information which is very sensitive to APNIC for demonstrating your IP needs. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. I'm Nick Zhang from Peking Unlimited Cloud Technology. And I agree with the policy. It's clear that this policy can motivate all parties to declare transfer officially. This can help ensuring that registration is properly done. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, everybody. I'm Xie Zhui. I support the policy since it can make the transfer much more simple. Thank you.
Thank you.
This is, may I speak? This is Izumi Okutani. Just asking a question on behalf of the Japanese community. One point that they wanted to have a clear confirmation is that by deploying this policy, it would not affect the transfer with the ARIN region. We know that inter-RIR transfer between RIPE and ARIN is happening under the same criteria, but we want a clear confirmation that from someone in the ARIN region that we're still able to continue transfer with the ARIN region with this changed criteria. Would someone from ARIN region be able to clarify?
Repeat your question.
With the proposed criteria, can we still continue inter-RIR transfer with ARIN region?
Yeah, so I'm John Sweeting, Director of RSD, Registration Services Department at Aaron, and yes, if it was worded precisely as the right policy, then there would be no problems. We're currently doing inter-RIR transfers with the RIPE today.
Yes, it's copy-paste from it. So it's worded exactly the same.
This is Guo Wei-Wu. Actually, I have no, preference for yes or no, but I just like to make sure one more thing. When you do the, the no-need transfer policy, somehow you still need a system to support it, one IR, if you want to do that. And I just want to know is what is the administration cost for APNIC or others, because you still need to build a system to support such of the online transfer stuff. Is APNIC can have an estimate how much a system developing to help if this policy pass, how you going to do it?
Sanjaya from APNIC. At the moment in my APNIC, we've got already a facility to transfer resource from one member to another. So the one who want to release the resource would say, I want to release this prefix to that account, this size. And then the recipient would go into my APNIC and said, I accept. What happens now is then the hostmaster will do if it hasn't been pre-approved, if it has been pre-approved, it will just happen automatically. If it hasn't been approved, then the hostmaster will engage with the recipient and do the approval. So if this gets through, then that step where the hostmaster engage with the recipient would not need to be done.
So what about across the region from APNIC to ARIN or whatever?
It would be the same. It's actually a bit less automated, but as far as receiving, it does reduce the conversation that the hostmaster need to do with the recipient in APNIC region. So it should be all right. Yeah.
Okay. Then I have no question. Thank you very much, Sanjaya, for your explanation.
Thank you very much.
Hi everyone, this is Chen Chuanfang from Munich. I suppose this policy, since space already issued by APNIC a long time ago, should not be submitted to a new evaluation process. Unallocated resource are not protected. This doesn't add any additional value to the process. Thank you.
Okay.
Hi, I'm Tomohiro Fujisaki from NTT Japan, and just now I'm neutral this proposal because yes, RIPE region has no restriction, but as I presented yesterday, RIPE has another base transfer restriction that is cannot transfer within the 2 years for the received that I have before this block. So I think we need such kind of base restriction to transfer.
Yeah. Sorry, I didn't understand.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, actually, RIPE region has the base restriction for the transfer for the IPv4 address and the AS number, 16-bit AS number. Correct me if I'm wrong. And yeah, actually, RIPE region transfer, in the RIPE region transfer policy, the recipient of transfer cannot transfer its address block to the another organization within the 2 years. Sorry. Yes, sorry. Thank you so much.
I understand that. So there's actually additional criteria within the RIPE region. What you're saying is that recipient of the transfer cannot transfer that block for 2 years.
Yeah.
So So this criteria is not added in our proposal. That means that we will have much looser criteria compared to ripe region. Is that what you're saying?
Yes, exactly, yes.
Is that correct?
Uh, 24 months cool down.
Hello, my name is Imran. I'm Fibernet Pakistan. Basically, I don't support this proposal because it doesn't solve any problem. Reason behind, I might ask Secretariat if they are having any problem with administrative work. Thank you.
Sorry, can you repeat?
I'm asking to Secretariat if there any problem to working any administrative work.
You're asking the Secretariat, or
is there any problem to working with Secretariat?
For me, it's just like when you're doing a transfer, you're submitting a lot of documentation. If it's a small range / 22, 21 or anything, it's rather fast and easy. As soon as you come to larger ranges, it's actually a lot of documentation that you need to supply. And it doesn't really add anything to the overall process. If organizations are willing to transfer such large address space, such large blocks, they have a need for them. They're not going to spend so much money on acquiring address space on the market if they don't have a deployment need for them. Then the evaluation done by APNIC is, yeah, it's sometimes very strict, but it's not at the end adding anything to the whole process.
Do you still need a response from the Secretariat?
Oh, thanks. Okay.
Hi, David. Simon, I'm talking from myself and on behalf of the community. You said on the slide 4 that remove any hurdles. Can you please specify what you mean by hurdles? My question is one. My second question is that less uncertainty on how to proceed. About my first question, removing the hurdles. Do you know how many transfer was stopped in last year?
Statistics were published on the mailing list.
Can I ask the Secretariat how many transfer were stopped?
Actually, just one.
Just one. So your number one problem, remove the hurdles, is not valid, right? In 365 days, one transfer stopped, and there should be some valid reason for the APNIC authority to stop that.
That's when you reach that stage, that's when you have already found the address space, found the recipient, you contact APNIC, and at that point it gets stopped. That's the very last moment. Some transfer will never reach that stage because people will not contact APNIC. They will not go that far. They will stop before that process. So the officially stopped one is one. How many people actually wanted more address space and could not get a pre-approval for a larger space? We don't know. It's
how many transferred what happened in last year?
In APNIC region?
Yes.
I don't know. Does APNIC have the stats for this one at the moment?
So only one stopped. Okay, fine. Less uncertainty. So what are the uncertainties, the fear you have in your mind?
That's mostly from the offering parties. Before they want to commit to do a transfer and everything, they want to make sure that it's going to be finalized. And if you cannot guarantee that it's going to be finalized, that it's going to happen, there is a problem in your whole transfer process.
What kind of problem you are facing?
That's the pre-approval. They're not sure if it's going to be approved. They're not sure if they can proceed, contact APNIC, and have the whole process triggered. It takes a lot of time. It takes a lot of paperwork on their side internally, and they're not sure if they want to proceed with that.
And the third thing is that you said about the administrative cost. I guess you made another proposal, which is the next one, which will increase the cost. Then what kind of administrative cost you want to remove here? there are so many like the IP administrator is there in the APNIC who is supporting. So what kind of cost you want to remove here? I didn't get that.
It's only the evaluation
And I
part.
strongly discourage about this proposal, and I am not supporting this proposal from this region.
Thank you.
Ingrid from RIPE NCC. I would like to confirm Tomohiro's comments. We have a 2-year restriction on any scarce resource, whether you received it through a transfer from the RIPE NCC or through a merger and acquisition. So when you receive it, you're not allowed to transfer it according to policy for 2 years.
Thank you, Ingrid, for confirming.
Hello, this is Jangi from the community. My earlier speaker already point out that the issue. There is a policy already here to make a transfer from within the region or other region. Just for one case, did not make us to build another policy. So my comment is for one rejection with proper cost already given for the one rejection, so far I know from the mailing list. For this reason, I think I could not support this policy to make a new policy, because still transfer is happening with valid organization, valid documents. So just for one case, exception case not help to build another policy as well. So I could not support from the community. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi David, Aftab Siddiqui here, speaking in my personal capacity. The issue is that it definitely resolves a lot of administrative work, but not from the APNIC Secretariat, but from the for the broker. So I think we are trying to resolve an issue for a broker. Like, even the broker is getting a lot of money, he should be doing his job. So APNIC Secretariat is doing their job. They have only blocked one transfer request. They have approved all of them. They have said it on the email multiple times that it is the business as usual for them. There is no administrative hurdle or anything. So I don't think so. This policy is trying to resolve anything for the community or for the APNIC itself. It's just trying to resolve a hurdle for a broker. So I don't support this proposal at all. Thank you.
Thank you.
Lu Han from LaRousse Cloud. From LaRousse Cloud Service. I'd like to clarify a few data which been mentioned by the other community members here, which published by APNIC in the mailing list. So yes, that is true that only one recipient could not demonstrate need. However, there is more than 150 transfers, and each transfer in average take 4 to 5 email communications with the recipient to acquire data, get communication with them, and those are about 800 emails. It's not like Aftab said that APNIC multiple times said there is no administrative burden. It's actually not up to APNIC to say that. It's what they tell exactly what is their workload with or without this policy. So with this policy, we can save over 800 emails in a year for APNIC, so the staff can focus on things more important, like data accuracy in the database, for example. And it's not safe administrative burden for brokers, because some of large deals are not done by brokers. It's not because they get paid that they should do unnecessary paperwork. It's not a punishment. We're all here to improve data accuracy in the database, and as well as help have more accurate operation and more smooth operation practice. There's many operators that being express the concerns with this need-based policy when they purchasing IP or selling IP addresses to facilitate future utilization of the IP addresses because of the need approval process in place. And such a process was initially put in place to conservatively distribute IP address from IANA, not to give, not really for the address already out there. So for the data which showed by APNIC, there is a lot of administrative burden from my point of view, it's 800 emails. And there's also a lot unknown ones which being rejected, not to the stage which they didn't demonstrate a need. So the NIDA process is not there to block anything. If out of only 1% of the transfer would actually be blocked by this NIDA policy, what's the point to have this policy in place at the first place? You don't need to have a NIDA test if only less than 1% will actually fail it. Why not just let everybody pass through, let the other 99% save this administrative burden and save all this paperwork, time and money for everyone to have a more smooth and better operation database? Why not that? Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Hello, my name is Thủy from Vietnam. We do not support this proposal because by our understanding, at this moment, especially in V4 exhaustion periods, V4 not only be considered as things to be sales or buy, and we think that APNIC do the right evaluation for very long time, but so at the moment we don't see any special reason to change that. Yeah, by our observation, the transfer in our areas now is still run very smoothly. If there is any case that the right entity who is the right entity to obtain the IP, which cannot be obtained the IP just for the APNIC evaluation, that when that we can propose a change, but not now. So in general, we do not support this proposal. Thank you.
Rajesh Jain in my personal capacity. Actually, there is a need for data accuracy to be there. Security agencies are asking for this whose data to be more and more accurate. And I am afraid that if this is completely freed, those problems will probably go up. What I suggest is, in case it is felt that there are some administrative difficulties, I would request APNIC staff to be able to look at that, and maybe if they can make some process simpler, but there must be a process, should not be free. That's my opinion. Thank you.
Hi, David. Aftab Siddiqui here. Well, you're right that it was only one transfer which was blocked by APNIC for some reason, where the recipient was unable to demonstrate the need. But the most important thing to note in the same stats is they blocked 4 fraudulent transfers. So they were able to figure it out that these are fraudulent transfer, and they stopped it. So if you remove this policy, forget about the one who failed to provide the need. These 4 will just go through. So
I don't know if they will just go through. That we will need
I'm sorry. If there is no need policy, then it will go through definitely. There is nobody in the middle to check what's happening. It will go through.
At some point, papers are checked during the transfer or during the billing period. APNIC checks. Like they have review of their members, and that's the moment when you can pick up any fraudulent organization registered directly with APNIC. I don't think that the need base is.
I'm sorry. If you remove the no need based policy, right? Then where is the paper check and everything? And if there is a paper check, then how can it release the administrative work you are claiming that APNIC Secretariat and Hostmasters are in at the moment?
You check who is the offering party and who is the receiving party. Now we're speculating about 4 fraudulent cases. We don't know if it was the offering party that was fraudulent, if it was the receiving party that was fraudulent. We don't actually have the data, and I don't think APNIC can provide that information. But it's very difficult to speculate about a case where you say that it was fraudulent information.
Just a last comment. Even though the policy is based on speculations, I'm just reading out from the George email. As far as administration of these requests is concerned, it is just part of the host master's routines required by the APNIC policy. So they don't consider it as administrative burden. It's just like that somebody comes to me and say, well, you look tired. I say, no, I just woke up, I'm pretty fresh. I say, no, you look tired and go to bed. I just woke up, I'm not tired at all. No, I'm telling you because I'm the right person. So anyway, no further comments. Still, I don't support this policy.
I don't think APNIC can say that a policy is a burden. APNIC enforces policies.
So just followed off task the comments that the first thing is that this policy aim to achieve that. I want to just add on to David's comment that the fluent information are most time for the fake company papers, those fake personal information, and those things still be checked during the transfer process. It's just a need approval. Do you need a space or not? That question being removed. It's not that we're going to give space to anyone provide a random paper or random IDs. Those things, as part of their customer service in APNIC, still need to be checked during the transfer process, that if they are the real person initiating the transfer. And I think RIPE-NCC might confirm that if there's a transfer happening in RIPE-NCC, they will check both party the ID, make sure it's from the legitimate offering party and the legitimate receiving party. I will leave that to the RIPE-NCC. And as what Aftar said about the routine thing done, commented by APNIC, of course, it was routine to have a horse take you from everywhere until the car was invented. If there's a more efficient way to improve the efficiency for all the parties involved, why not? Why shouldn't we do it? It's the old way. It's not always the best way. It's very simple knowledge for, especially in the technology field. We're all going to IPv6. It's not because we've been doing IPv4 for fun for past 20 years. We don't need IPv6. We need them. So it's evolution, and we should always going for a more efficient way of doing things. Thank you very much.
Again, Ingrid from RIPE-NCC. I cannot comment on what was fraudulent about the request that was stopped in the APNIC. Indeed, we do not check needs requirement in RIPE-NCC. We do check a lot of paperwork, both from the offering as the receiving party, passports, whether the person is authorized to sign, etc., etc. And based on that, we have stopped transfers.
Alain Joss also speaking on my own behalf. There are two functions here that are happening during a transfer. One is checking that the parties are who they say they are and they own the resources that they claim they have. The other one is the assessment of a need of a person who is receiving the transfer. And those two things are very, very separate. The first one is critical because you want to make sure that a block is not going to be sold twice or 10 times the same day, or it's not a fraudulent block, or it's a block that belongs to somebody else. That role is really, really critical. The other one is somewhat debatable. A question that I have to the representative to all the different IRR is there a common set of criteria that you are using to actually make sure that the block belongs to the person that claims it belongs to? Or do you all have different processes and different rules there?
Adam Gosling, I'm afraid I can't answer Elaine's question. I have a different question, and it's a question for clarity. Doing a review of the actual policy document regarding this proposal, I identified a dozen or so places where I'll have to change policy in order to affect the change that you're asking, not just in the transfers area. There are two very fundamental principles in the policy document. One is that you don't stockpile, and the other is an understanding that resources are delegated to people who plan to use them, people who run networks. What you're proposing on the face of it seems to move away from those principles, and I want to make sure that I understand that that's the intention of the author and the intention of the community, if this passes consensus, that stockpiling will be allowed and that you don't need to be running a network in order to hold and be the custodian of addresses. Thank you.
Thank you. I personally don't believe that people do transfers just to stockpile. It's, if anyone does transfers of those sizes, it's to use the IP addresses.
Sorry, this is not a question about your belief, it's a question about your intentions with the proposal so that I know how to write the document.
Yeah, I understand.
So it needs to be made very clear. Should I change the document so that it says people who are receiving V4 transfers are allowed to stockpile, and that people who are receiving V4 transfers can have them without operating a network and without using them?
Yep.
Yep.
If that's needed, then we can have it there. Thank you. Yes, thank you.
If a nice lady, if somebody want to divorce and another person want to marry, it's depend on both the party. But the thing is, later on, there will be so many cases can come with the kids who are going to take care about them. Per annum, there are 800 emails, mean per day it's just 2 emails. So it's very simple to process them. If they fail to, if they apply this policy, later on there will be so many complaints that there will be so many emails, then more than 800 will come. So I strongly against from the community.
Ingrid from RIPE NCC. I cannot comment, of course, on all the RIR procedures, but in response to Alain, I think it comes down to the same principles. We check if the offering party is indeed the party that we issued the resources to, and we verify on that basis to see if that's still the same party. And I think that is a common thing in the RIRs. Different paperwork maybe, but the same principle.
This is Go Wei again. I still in the neutral position, but I really like to ask the proposal, like you raised that here. Have you ever thinking about this proposal? What is the consequence will be happen after that? Is the situation is, do you think this policy, the no need and the following transfer policy, you will make the IPv4 last longer? Or you are thinking about there will be any help to make the IPv6, the developing much faster? Because if you do that, that means, well, because the IPv4 address is limited, and right now actually is making the IPv4 really in the market have a certain price. But if we are successfully moving to the IPv6 as soon as possible, for the general user or any people need an IP address, will be much cheaper and easier. And we don't need to stuck with scalability of the IPv4 address. So I'd like to ask you as a proposal, what is your imagination or intention? What do you think about in this case? Or you didn't think about, you never heard, anything about that consequence at all?
Not directly to IPv6.
Excuse me, David. We are just about to run out of time, so I'll let you answer, and we'll have one last comment, and then we'll proceed with the consensus process. Thank you.
Not directly with IPv6. I don't believe that there is any policies that can be made with IPv4 that motivates IPv6 deployment. Facilitating people until they reach the IPv6 moment to be able to deploy v4 is good, but I do not believe that any v4 policy actually promotes v6 policies.
Yeah, Ajay Kumar from Mumbai Internet Exchange in personal capacity. I strongly oppose this proposal. I think IP addresses are the critical resources for the community. So there should be evaluation process, and RIR staff has to evaluate based on that transfer, or the new delegation should be done. Thank you.
Thank you.
Is it online? No, it's not. Okay, so we've got three strong opposition to this proposal, and they've been justified. Just to make sure, we'll do a rise of hand with who strongly oppose the proposal. Okay. Now, who just oppose the proposal? Who is neutral? 1, 2. And who support the proposal? And who strongly support the proposal? Same ones. Is Confer online? Okay, so now we'll proceed with the Confer software, just to make sure. So that remote participant can participate. Okay, so on Confer, it seems that there's no opinions. Oh. Oh. Anyway. Live it a bit more. Well. Yeah, it's. How many people are actually registered on the new Confer system? Just to make sure. Yeah, registration all logged in. Just to. Leave it another 30 seconds. Okay, so sorry, David, this proposal didn't reach consensus.
Perfect.
So now maybe you want to put it back on the mailing list and take into account all the comments that have been discussed and adjust your proposal, or just drop it. It's up to you.
Yep, we'll see what we do. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you all for your comments. All right.
And so now we can move to the prop 119, so you can stay exactly where you are. And I let you introduce your proposal. Thank you.
Okay. Next controversial proposal, the temporary transfers. It's only to allow a temporary delegation via transfers. It doesn't actually add much differences in the policies. It will follow all the transfer policies the way they are. The recipient can receive an allocation, but the only difference with a normal transfer is that the recipient will return that allocation to the LIR that issued it to them. It's more of a registration accuracy thing. You have organizations who actually are receiving space and they don't register the delegations in the database. That can be seen from the announcements, etc. And for some reasons, they're not issuing PA assignments or allocations. They are just issuing the space and not registering them. Hopefully, offering a proper way of registering a delegation through the means of transfers will help motivate this. And in some regions, it is actually necessary to receive a transfer. You cannot announce the space if you do not have the space registered to your own organization. And their temporary allocation becomes handy. If you have a business partner or anything, you do a temporary allocation and they can announce the space. They can register with the government and have the space announcing. They can start announcing the space. It's not a permanent transfer. It's not meant to be there forever. It's for people who need it, for projects, can be renumbering, can be just based on years or months. Don't expect anyone to make use of it for very short-term gains. It doesn't really make any sense to receive a temporary allocation for just a few months. It's longer as temporary allocation are what I believe will be used. And you will have everything reviewed by APNIC. So in a certain way, it makes the registration in the database more accurate than when you have an assignment or sub-allocation, because there it's reviewed by APNIC staff. So the recipient, you have a higher guarantee on who is the recipient on their registration data and that everything is up to date. For the recipient, it means that they have everything under one umbrella. All their resources are managed from one location only. That's it. It's a very brief thing.
Brajesh Jain, is there a time limit being specified for this temporary transfers, or is it sort of infinite? Or
the time limit is set between the offering party and the recipient.
So it could be for all years. It could be for infinite.
It's between them. They need to agree on a time, and that is indicated to the RAR during the transfer.
Thank you.
Simon, on behalf of the community. David, you were just contradicting yourself. The previous one, you were telling that you want to reduce the headache of APNIC. Now you want to increase the headache of the APNIC. You specifically mentioned in your presentation that yes, there will be in minimum process that APNIC will justify. That one, right? In your presentation is there. But there is no time limit here. So anyone can come for one or 2 weeks and then they can fly. This is one. You didn't mention about the time. Second thing is that you didn't mention that if that time limit's over, then somebody has to keep that back to the original owner, right? If it is go from party A to party B, then after like 1 year, it's supposed to be come to party A. Don't you think APNIC has to reiterate this work again and again for each of the AS numbers? And don't you think that it will increase the headache of APNIC again and again? Thank you.
That can be automated. And yeah, in this case, since there will still be a need-based evaluation, it will increase work. Otherwise, it will not increase anything.
Hello, I want to need an answer from you, just from the regulatory lawful agency perspective. For example, A party transfer the resources for B party for 6 months. B party do some illegal activity, okay, within 6 months. And lawful agency inform the illegal activity after 6 months. Then after 6 months, the B organization is already again transferred to A organization. Then as a service provider, what information I will do? Because B organization do the illegal things within 6 months. lawful agency inform initial their activity after 6 months. Okay, then the resource revert back to a organization, then the blame goes to the organization. So how to resolve this? My question this one. Thank you.
That's no different than the current situation at the moment, with either transfers or delegation in the database with PA assignments or suballocation. You will have the exact same situation.
Yes, yes, same situation. For there is some couple of step verification. I think there will already occurring, already flowing. If it is for 30 days request, or if it is for 2-month request, this type of this type of activity is growing day by day increasingly, and lawful agency pressure or lawful agency mail responding will be increases to service provider as well, I think. For example, in my side, we mail lots weekly 4 and 10 mail to send to the lawful agency to identify which IP information, which IP they are using, where they are go through from source address to destination address. But if it is for short time period, temporarily, then this will be increased, I think, almost 10 times to corresponding with mail. I think just considering the lawful perspective agency, this really make more burden for service provider to identify, to share information as well, because of short time of period. Thank you.
Yeah, just to add, in this case, if actually we have the temporary transfer in place compared to a normal delegation, so compared to an assignment, for the law enforcement agency, you will have more accurate information, as the transfer was vetted by APNIC. They receive legal documents, they know who is the recipient, compared to a PA assignment that somebody can register and remove without any documentation provided to APNIC. So for a law enforcement agency, it will actually have a benefit that it's more accurate. They can easier trace who was using the space at that moment, if it was during a temporary transfer. So there, the accuracy is increased.
Actually, for right now, for example, I think if this policy, I believe, by considering the service provider point of view with the relationship with lawful agency, this will increase the burden from service provider with lawful agency and increase as well as mail corresponding with APNIC as well as service provider to lawful agency. I believe this policy, I will not support this by considering the service provider point of view to identify the end user for the short time period. Thank you.
Thank you.
Adam, please. Just a quick reminder, we've got 12 minutes left, please.
Sorry, I'll try and be quick. The Secretariat kind of would like some guidance on the implementation of this proposal. In particular, myself, imagine a situation where you've done a temporary transfer. I would like to know who should pay the fees while that is on transfer, and if the fees aren't paid, do we recover them? So if the recipient should be paying the APNIC fees and they fail to pay the fees, do we take them back, or do we give them back to the original custodian and get them to pay the fee?
Yes. For the transfer itself, like any transfer, so it's...
I mean the annual fees, sorry.
Yeah. Sorry?
Who will pay the annual fees?
And the annual fees, the recipient.
And if they don't pay?
Yes, I had not put this in the policy, then it should be returned to the original holder.
And they need to pay?
Yeah, because it's their address space. They issue the address space to another. During the time of the lease, the recipient is responsible for it, but ultimately it returns back to them.
That helps a lot. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, this is Yoshinobu Matsuzaki. I have a question. So in this community, APNIC community, we are sharing responsibility for managing and using IP number resources, right? So what can we expect from offering party? Like what can we expect responsibility or role from the offering party in this case?
The offering party is issuing the space to one of their customers, and they have verified how the space will be used, I guess. It's the same as if you issue PA space or suballocation to a network within your own domain within your customers. Just in this case, it's a third party. And you actually don't want that space to go to someone who is going to do bad things with it, because it will eventually return back to you. Plus, it's traceable that it came from you. So the offering parties, it's not in their interest to have bad customers there.
But still, in that case, for me, it sounds like the offering party try to hide their responsibility.
Not try to hide.
So in that point, I'm oppose this proposal. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, Debbie. I'm Nick Zhang from Peking Unlimited Cloud Technology. The idea is being able to have all IP address registered under one interface. So even this address sounds very appealing to me. So I don't see why I should not support the policy. So definitely support it. Thank you.
Hi, David. Simon again. Do you know that to transfer from there is a transfer fee in APNIC, right? So there's 20% of the yearly fees of the IP. What did you think that did you think that this temporary policy transfer will be totally free?
No, the recipient pays for it.
What amount?
It's the same as any other transfer. It will be treated like any other transfer.
So but that transfer fee is like based
fees.
on a year. Like yearly, you are paying almost like a $359 for /22. But you didn't mention anything about you. I think you were thinking as the temporary transfer is a free.
No. It will be treated like any other transfer under the same policies and the same fees. There's no differences with it.
You are again contradicting yourself. You are trying to reduce the burden of APNIC, but again here, you again complexing the calculation, because that APNIC always mentioned this one as a yearly charge. That is also mentioned in the calculator. But you are again, if it is like for few days, for few months, for few weeks, then again you are complexing the calculation. So that is why I'm again opposing this proposal.
If someone transfers for just a few weeks, then they will have to pay the yearly fee for it. But I don't see people doing that for a few weeks or a few days. That will be very insane.
Hello, everyone. I'm from China. My name is Sean. As I know, transfer space to each other is accomplished and one-way process at this moment, because in the order to get license from the announcing the space, this needs to be regards to my organization. So I support this policy. The policy can make it some things easy. Thank you.
Thank you.
This is Guo Wei again. Again, it's my personal opinion, and I have no, special strong support or oppose. But I just want to ask one simple question. In this temporary transfer, you don't have a time limit, right? That means you can transfer in 1 week, 2 weeks, or whatever. You don't. In this proposal, you didn't say that, right?
There's an end. You need to have an end date. You need to decide on the length of the proposal, of the transfer. So it implies that you need to have an end date on it, yes.
Okay, but at least you didn't say, if you transfer this address from A to B, under 2 years or 5 years, you cannot transfer again. You didn't say that in this proposal. Is that right?
That the recipient cannot transfer?
Yep.
The recipient should not be able to transfer at that point. Not sure
if you A transfer to B,
yeah,
and then how long the B can transfer to C or whatever?
B cannot transfer again. Ultimately it's the space from A.
Is that right? If I read the proposal, you didn't say that.
Yeah, if I
You didn't say B cannot transfer to the next one, C or whatever.
I will need to correct it at that point then.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
I'm Ziam Abdin from the community.
I'm really hating this dating. No, 1 week with one person and 2 days for another person, one with another person. After 10 months, you need to worry about whose baby is this. So there will be so many emails and so many DNA tests will come with the APNIC secretariats. I'm strongly against from the community.
Thank you. I have just one question. What happened if it's a part A is going down or disappear? What happened for the space delegation for the part B?
It returns to APNIC at the end of the delegation.
No, if during the delegation, part A just...
Yeah, it stays with B until the end of the initial
okay.
agreement,
Okay.
and then it returns to APNIC at the end.
Thank you.
I have Aftab Siddiqui. Well, it's pretty clear now that this version has too many loopholes, so probably you'll be updating it. So, and the thing is, in principle, whether we like it or not, I don't support this proposal on many grounds because it's just making things very difficult and messy in terms of DNA test, which Abdeen has said. It's interesting comment though. But it's just a messy process. I think we shouldn't go that way. In principle, we shouldn't be supporting it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Last comment for Adam. Thank you.
Thank you. For the sake of clarity, I know you can't see your text there, David. You did remember about further transfers of a temporary transfer. In section 4, temporary transfers cannot be further transferred, is already in the text.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Thank you all. So now we'll have a look at what people think about this proposal. So we're going to start with a raise of hand. Who strongly oppose this proposal? Yeah, so we had only one person at the mic who actually say why he's strongly opposed, because we're supposed to have a good reason to strongly oppose, because strongly opposing a proposal is like a veto. There's no coming back. So too many people to comment it. We don't have enough time. So again, we've got 2 people who strongly opposed and stated why they did. So be really careful between opposing and strongly opposing. Thank you. Confer is online. And who's opposing this proposal? Okay. Who is neutral? Who support the proposal? That's a bit weird. Eh? Who strongly support? Yeah, you can't actually do it twice. Thank you all. We'll leave it a little bit more time for the confer, and we'll go back. Okay, so we didn't reach a real consensus on this one. I think but that's my opinion, these proposals should go back to the mailing list for lots of clarification, because there was lots of questions raised during the comments period. And if the people who did comment today could join the mailing list and do the comments on the mailing list, it might be easier for David to come with a good proposition so that it could reach consensus eventually. So David, it's up to you for to go back on the mailing list or not.
Thank you very much.
We had one last presentation with Alain Durand from ICANN, but okay, so because of the time and the coffee time is coming up, we suggest that Alain Durand do his presentation on the next session just in less than 30 minutes now. Thank you all.